When I was in my late teens, my friends and I used to go to a local lake and go swimming. And it was discovered one day that there were some rocks, some cliffs that you could jump or dive off of into the lake. Now, I'm not a risk taker. I don't like dangerous things, and I wasn't really wild about the idea of jumping off cliffs into the water. But my friends did it before me, and seeing them do it convinced me that it's something that I could do as well. So I did. And that's the same sense in which witnesses are talked about in Hebrews 12:1. Hebrews 12:1, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus. Welcome to Truth Talk with Ed Skipper, published every Monday and Thursday. So you had a godly grandma, let's say, that prayed for you every day, and she's gone now. Presumably, she's in heaven. Is she in heaven watching you? And are other loved ones that have gone on watching you from heaven? And should that fact motivate you to live a godly life knowing that they're watching you? Well, my short answer is probably not. And here's why. Because most Bible scholars understand the word witness here to mean that they were testifiers. That's one way you can translate the word. Testifiers. In other words, as Paul says in Hebrews 12:1, therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Witnesses there refers not to people who are watching you, but to people who went before you, showing that a life of faith and God's faithfulness, that those things are possible for you. So they did it. They lived a life of faith. People like Abraham and Moses, and Hebrews 11 says, by faith they did this, and by faith they did that. And now as we start this chapter, it's suggesting you can do it too, because the same God that enabled them to do it will enable you to do it. The Apostle Paul says in 2 Corinthians 4:7, but we have this treasure, that's Jesus, we have this treasure in jars of clay, that's you and me. We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power comes from God and not from us. So the same faithful God that enabled them to live godly lives of faith will enable you to do it. Jesus Christ dwells in you. And so it is like this. The Lord would say, it doesn't matter what kind of clay jar or clay pot it is. It might be new, it might be old, it might be tall, it might be small, it might be bright, it might be faded. It's who's in the jar. And for us who believe in Jesus Christ, Jesus is in us, enabling us and empowering us to live godly lives. Now, suppose that you were going to climb a mountain and you got to the foot of that mountain and you looked up and said, wow, that is steep. Can this really be done? And someone showed you a picture of a registry from the top of the mountain where people had signed it and said, we got up here to the top. And you looked at all the names of the people that had signed that and you say to yourself, yes, this can be done. They did it. So can I. And so can you live a life of faith and a godly life because people have gone before you and proven that it can be done. Now, I'm really excited about Hebrews 12:1, so stay tuned to Truth Talk as we talk about these various aspects of throwing off sin and hindrances and fixing your eyes on Jesus and so forth. And until next time, may you be certain that a life of faith and a godly life is possible. People who went before you proved it.